Hello and thank you for joining us for Eye on the Polls, a part of the Jamaica Votes series of the Gleaner. I'm Damion Mitchell. Today the issue is on women in politics. 12 women are on the ballot for the September 3 elections from the People's National Party. The Jamaica Labour Party is fielding 18 candidates who are women. But of what significance is this? To help us dissect these issues are attorney at law and public commentator Clive Munroe Jr. On Zoom, we have the People's National Party's prospective candidate for Kingston Central, Imani Duncan, and will also be joined by the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate for St. James West Central, the incumbent Marlene Malahoo Forte. So first, 12 women from the People's National Party are going up. 18 women from the Jamaica Labour Party. Of what significance is this, Clive Munroe Jr.?
Well, it's important that we get as many women as possible into representational politics to reflect the importance of women in our society and in our economy, and also the fact that women make up, per gender, the majority of our population. So there is presently a disparity as to the representation relative to the population numbers. So it's very important, even in a competitive context, to have more and more women in politics. Not just to make up any token numbers, but also for the diversity that they can bring to politics and to decision making at the highest level.
Well, Imani Duncan, do you see the increase in the numbers of female standard bearers as a political achievement?
Whenever I hear men speak about women representation, gender equality, my heart soars. Because the only way we're going to get equality in parliament, equality in the home, equality in society is when our men are enlightened and progressive in their thinking and their speaking and their actions. So big up, Clive. Yes. Big up. Yeah, man. So I think that there is a greater awareness, for sure, in our society, our country, around the importance of having balance in our representation in terms of how we shape our policies and our programs, but that awareness hasn't necessarily translated into consistent and steady action on the part of the parties or on the part of the country as a whole. We have work to do in terms of, I think, educating the population about the importance of having all perspectives at the table, not just women and men, but women and men from different socioeconomic classes as well, because we want to have representation across the board that speaks effectively to the right kinds of solutions relevant to women and men, girls and boys, from rural and urban Jamaica and different classes. You need diversity for better policies and programs and better laws, right? So it's a step in the right direction in terms of the number of candidates that we have both in the PNP and in the JLP. And I don't think anyone that I see on the slate as female candidates are tokens. They're all formidable. We have different philosophies and platforms, but I believe that they're all strong women who will bring something very credible to the game.
Yes, but then the question arises though, Imani, can there really be progress?
When there seems to be a restriction in respect of the appointments of women in politics, certainly a Minister of Finance as a female we've never had. We've never had a Minister of National Security as a female. We've had a Prime Minister who is a woman, but is there really not a restriction?
No, by the way, I am fully aware there is not a legal restriction or a policy restriction within any of the parties. The restriction is really a cultural restriction. That's the issue that we have, I think, in terms of what you're seeing in the numbers of the so few women at leadership levels. Now remember, in both parties, the majority of people you see doing the canvassing on the ground, which is the heart of the political work, going door to door, selling a party, walking to people who are disgruntled or frustrated, are women. That's the bulk of your workers in your party, certainly in the People's National Party. And I rate them because they make dinner early on a Sunday and they'll go out there in the early afternoon and they're out there. And for those in Central Kingston, thank you. Because I can't be everywhere. These women are the eyes and ears on the ground. Yes, there are some men who work at that level, but the kind of work is just almost it's not work that all the men love to do, let's put it that way. So it's mostly women. But as you go up the party hierarchy, you don't see as many women leaders, either in terms of the regional leadership or in terms of the executive leadership. And then that also translates now into the actual MP candidates themselves. I think we have to be very deliberate as a political party in recruiting women from early, getting them into seats that are winnable as well, and also enabling them in a particular manner to succeed. What you find when we did some work a few years ago, I had brought a motion to Parliament about gender parity in Parliament and how we can get there. And a part of it, as we worked with different women's groups, spoke with different women in both parties, was that campaign finance is one of the challenges. You know, most men who run companies, legal money, right, are run by men, and men know men. If you're going to actually see a difference in number of women at the party level, you're going to have to actually look at the barriers to women entering. Finance is one. The structure of your time is one. How you actually orient women is a different issue. And so we have to be very deliberate about recruitment, not just say who show up and we say, yeah, man, great. But say we want the best women, you know, who want to serve, to have a chance and go for them actively in order to get to a much more fairer and equitable representation amongst even candidates. Forget even winning.
I want to come to that issue of a gender quota, but we are joined now by Marlene Malahoo Forte. She is the prospective member of Parliament for St. James West Central, and in fact is Jamaica's Attorney General. So thankful for your joining us, MP Marlene Malahoo Forte. We're discussing the issue of women in politics, and we're asking the question, has there really been progress, or has it been slow?
We have made progress, undoubtedly, but the progress has been slower than I would like it to be. You know, women in professional life, not only in politics, is an issue that I have contended with for many, many years. And it is true that many areas, and politics in particular, have been dominated by male and male perspective. We do know, however, that bringing a balance to the table inures to the benefit of those who are seeking to serve. The Jamaica Labour Party has made a lot of progress in recruiting women who are competent, and sometimes even more competent than the male counterpart. And for this election, you will see, I believe, the highest number of female candidates to be nominated for a general elections. And it's something that I'm very proud about. It's something that Prime Minister Holness and the leadership troika comprising Chairman Montague and General Secretary Shang, they've been deliberate about. So I'm excited. I watch and read very often the comments on social media, and there is the general view that the women have been doing better representing their constituents and addressing the long-standing issues. But I tell you, it is not an easy path for those of us who are serving politically, and especially those who are in an elected representative.
Why is it, though, that over the years you've not seen women advancing to the top seats in government, for example, Minister of Finance, Minister of National Security, yet still at home, the women may be the ones who really pull the purse strings?
Good question. In fact, I have asked myself. We had Minister Favour Williams, who served first as State Minister and then Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And some years ago, we had then Senator Dacre Morrison, who served as State Minister in Finance. But you're right, the top job has been reserved for the male counterpart. I think there has to be a level of deliberateness in it. It is true that for a long time, women were seen as having a particular place in society when it comes to leadership and holding position, but that does not reflect the real work done by women, the real work that is done by women. But I am hopeful. I know that within the Jamaica Labour Party that I'm a part of, there is no philosophy now, if it existed before, I don't know of it, to say that a woman cannot hold any of the positions that have been traditionally held by male. And I am indeed looking forward to seeing women in those positions. It was under a Jamaica Labour Party government that we had the first female Attorney General of Dorothy Lifeburn and the first female Minister of Justice. So you listed the Ministry of National Security as one.
Yes.
We've been looking at it too, and the Ministry of Finance, and you're so right. I mean, the women are the finance ministers in their homes. They are the ones who know how to make ends meet and to ensure that the limited resources are properly spent, because the demands will always exceed those available resources. So I too watched like you.
Clive, you would be expecting that with women being the real money managers at home, they would be playing a role certainly in the Ministry of Finance, but we've not seen that. Why?
I think it's a combination of what Mrs. Malahoo Ford and Mrs. Duncan Price have said. One has to do with the cultural barriers to entry and where it is, even in the political landscape, that women often find themselves, and also just the deliberateness. From the deliberate perspective, if you think about it, outside of candidates that have been actually put into a safe seat, quote unquote, it has been very hard for people, and we include even men in this, it's been very hard for them to compete, to break into traditional politics. So it is difficult on that level alone to break in, separate and apart from the barriers for the structure to come into politics.
Well, let's look at what's happening for this election. There are going to be at least 4 clashes of women. St. Catherine North Central, Natalie Rodriguez versus Natalie Nita. St. Andrew West Rural, Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn versus Crystal Tomlinson. St. Andrew East Rural, Juliet Holness versus Joan Gordon-Webley. And St. Andrew Eastern, Fable Williams versus Venetia Phillips. We're still yet to see what will happen in St. Anne Southeastern with Lisa Hanna. It's potentially going to be another female clash there. But is this a trend in the right direction? Or would you rather see men versus female, Clive Munroe Jr.?
I think ultimately I want parity just like everybody else. But I want ultimately the best people who are suited for those positions.
Hold it right there. Marlene Malahoo Forte, I see you're chomping at the bit.
Yes, it is true. And I heard Imani mention the motion she had put forward in the Senate when we both served at the time, because culturally and legally, the place of women was relegated to the home. And we would hear that some jobs are reserved for male for whatever reason. There are cultural barriers, but I'm excited. I really am excited. I think our women have a passion that is very different from men. Their perspectives are different from men, and we need that mix at the table. But as you spoke about the clash, you know that dancehall song, what they say, border clash?
Yes, that's one. Yes, Mrs. Duncan Price, your take on this?
I share Marlene's excitement about what is possible, but I'm not very excited about what I see around me. So, I wish that we had just had more women overall, whether they were competing with other women in the same seat or men in a seat. I wish we had more women overall as candidates. It is, to me, deplorable that with 51% of the population being women, as your own editorial spoke to this morning, the percentage overall is what, 28%? No, 23.8% of the total candidates across both parties. Less than a quarter. That to me is just, it is just so emblematic of the stickiness of the structures and the resistance of the thing. It has to be broken. And so I'm hoping the passion that Marlene speaks about will be mobilized. Marlene, you hearing me? Mr.
Yes,
Attorney General.
I am hearing you now.
To push and break it systemically so that, not forever, but for a period of time, people begin to see women as leaders in a regular sense. Like, for example, you mentioned about no Minister of Finance, the lead, right, being a woman, or security. In companies, if you look at the C-suite, the executive level, typically the HR manager, the HR executive is a what? A woman, because she can handle people issues, those soft issues, right? And the CFO typically is the man. So there's still gendered roles, not only in terms of what we're seeing in politics, but also...
But let me
Take it back to a point, Imani Duncan Price, because Portia Simpson Miller was the first woman to become a Prime Minister of Jamaica. But were there real gains? Because at the end of the day, there certainly was some disaffection with her leadership as a Prime Minister of Jamaica.
For me, the fact that the highest number ever of women senators, so where she had the possibility of appointing senators, right? What the highest number between JLP and PNP, the total number of senators in the upper house ever under her leadership. And I'm not taking away what Prime Minister Holness has done with his own cabinet. So Marlene, don't jump on me, all right? I'm giving you where respect is due. But women are human beings too. We have our strengths as individuals and we have our weaknesses. I think that because she was able to garner the trust and the support of the majority of Jamaicans in a majority of seats at two particular points in time, at a particular point in time, and her party, it says that it is possible for women to break through.
Final one to you, Imani.
But it doesn't mean that systemically the issue has been addressed. As she herself said, some breaking through does not mean the issue is addressed.
The data show that women help a lot in maintaining the male patriarchy.
Yes.
But I subscribe to a paradigm of leadership that focuses on progress on the problems that we face. And this is a problem that is long-standing. It's not unique to Jamaica.
Globally.
And so I'm measuring the progress that is being made, and I'm encouraged by that progress. And I salute my own party leader, Prime Minister Holness, because he has been deliberate. It's not by accident. And a lot of women have been approached, and we're taking them through different processes. Some have chosen not to be involved at a certain level. But insofar as the Jamaica Labour Party is concerned, I know that we have made huge strides. On another aspect of the forward stride that we have made, in Jamaica, we have no legal barriers for women serving. And that doesn't exist in all jurisdictions. In other words, our laws do not prohibit women from holding positions. So our issues are cultural, and we do know that those are the ones that take the longest time to change. But we have to keep chipping away and chipping away at it. Yes.
Is sexism a problem in politics in Jamaica?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can tell you that I joke with my own constituents from time to time, and I say, my goodness, you give we women a harder time. The expectations are so much greater. But yes, I mean, if truth be told, there are there's a lot of subconscious bias, real subconscious bias, as well as conscious bias. And there is still a thinking in certain quarters that the woman's place is elsewhere. But I also see at the same time huge acceptance of women and a lot of support. And I heard Imani saluting the women in her party, and I do that. I do the same. A lot of my own party machinery comprise women who turn up every day and support. They go above and beyond the call of duty. So we have a long way to go, but I'm telling you, I am using all of my platforms to ensure that our women advance and advance well. So for me, when I go through the door, it must be flung even wider open so that others can come behind me. As so something that once they go through the door, it must be closed behind them. I regret that our experience with our first female prime minister was what it is. And I commend her, notwithstanding the differences in our political side, for having navigated a party hierarchy that is so male-dominated with its own set of prejudices and its own set of ideas.
Presented its own problems too.
Yes. But
well, Clive Jr., we're almost out of time, but I must take you on the potential clashes of at least 4 women against...
No, I'm sorry, one second. Just say one thing on that point.
Sorry, I'm coming to you, Imani, but just let Clive address this issue of the potential clashes of 4 women against women in St. Catherine North Central, St. Andrew West Rural, St. Andrew East Rural, and St. Andrew Eastern. What do you make of it?
Of them totally or cumulatively, that is, yes, or individually? Cumulatively, it's a good sign. And it shows in each of those constituencies the impact that the women who have been there, who are there, and what they have made, what they have to offer. So much so that the corresponding parties have felt the need that they should address the issue of the competition with another woman. I think in some instances that is one of the ways that you can address the issues surrounding the deliberateness, as Learned Queen's Counsel mentioned earlier. And I look forward to the outcomes. I look forward to what it is that they can offer, what they can bring that is different, what they can bring that is new, and what substance and diversity they can bring to political life in Jamaica.
Imani, the final word is yours.
To say that I think the partnership between Portia Simpson Miller as Prime Minister and Peter Phillips as Minister of Finance, to me, is emblematic of what was good about gender balance. Where, because people trusted Mama P and felt like, you know what, she would not do something to harm us, but could actually help us to hold strain at a very difficult time when the economy was very, very challenged. And between Peter and Portia working together, you know, to create a program and carry Jamaica through such that we have a base for growth when after the last election, I think is emblematic of both smarts, heart on both of their parts, yeah, which is what we need to have within our parliament in totality. And so we look at things, and this is where for me in Central Kingston, people look at me and say, boy, they've had all these men for years. We want a woman who with a different kind of caring, a different type of approach to leadership. Very participatory, that's my approach. Not saying men can't be that way, but we are all different. Although we are equal, we are different.
In one sense, Imani, how has it been going for Kingston Central in the campaign?
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Amazing because of, I lead with love. I lead with love, heart, and my mind. And I see all around me possibility for so much to become better and stronger. And I talk it straight, very, very straight. I don't go on the bush.
We'll stop right there. Mrs. Malahoo Forte, how has it been going in St. James West Central? One sentence.
I just want to say to all the women who are viewing and who will view on repeat that you can count on me to ensure that we have systems that reflect your interest.
Will you support the quotas, Marlene? Is that what you're saying?
Imani.
Yes.
There are different ways that we can achieve the goal.
Okay, we can
so
together.
We share a common interest. We share a common interest, but we may take different positions.
Different methods. But we cannot be incremental. Let's agree on that. No more incrementalism.
Let me talk to the women who are watching. That you can always count on me to do what is right by you. I will always use my spheres of influence, my offices to do what's right by you on a personal and on a professional level, because I understand the challenges of women. In my seat, I'm excited. We're going to take it home for the second term, and we will continue to serve the people well. Imani, I wish you well. I believe you have competition. The seat is traditionally held by your side, but I wish you an enjoyable campaign. For those who don't know, you and I share the Harvard alumnship, and we're also honored by the World Economic Forum.
I think we're going to have a part 2 to this. This has been exciting discussions here on Eye on the Polls, a part of our Jamaica Votes series, looking ahead to the election for 2020. I want to say thanks so much to our guests for today. Clive Munroe Jr. is an attorney at law and a public commentator. Imani Duncan Price, the People's National Party standard bearer for Kingston Central. And we also have the Attorney General, Marlene Malahoo Forte, for St. James West Central. Until next time, I'm Damion Mitchell. Thanks for watching.